Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at a TC Class 3 item. If you guys are unaware of what a TC Class 3 item is, it is an item that primarily drops in Act 1 normal difficulty. And when you see this item, you may have never seen it before. You'll be like, that doesn't exist. What are you talking about? Nuh-uh. And it's called the Knell Striker. The Knell Striker is a TC Class 3 item, and because it only drops, pretty much, primarily, in normal Act 1, you just never tend to find one. If you do find one outside of normal Act 1, well, you basically hit the lotto, because the chances of you finding one outside of normal Act 1 raise exponentially to the point where literally, like, if Bale in Hell difficulty dropped it for you, like, it was like a 1 in, like, 1,782,000, like, 692 chance or some bull crap like that. And I'm not even joking. So, like, finding one of these outside normal Act 1 is kind of insane. So if you do want to get your hands on one of these, your best bet is to farm normal difficulty. In fact, we'll go over that at the end of the video when I talk about Silo's Pen. We'll look at the monsters that have the highest drop chance for this particular item, so you kind of get a better idea of where you could potentially farm for this. But without further ado, let's go over the item itself. The Knell Striker is a Scepter, so it is basically the lowest tier of the Scepters, the normal difficulty, low tier Scepter. It goes, I think, what is it, Scepter, I can't even remember what the middle one is. It's a Grand Scepter, and then it's the War Scepter, right? So Scepter, Grand Scepter, War Scepter. And so this is the bottom tier of the bottom tier. It has 10 to 19 damage. It has 50 durability, which is actually pretty good for a low tier item, especially if you're going to zeal or anything like that. It has 25 strength requirement, which is relatively low, and most characters will be able to utilize this on level at level 5 with relative ease. There are very few characters that have lower than 25 strength at level 1, and those characters can spend just a couple points here and there, maybe find a charm or anything, and you can probably put this on. In fact, despite the fact that it's a Scepter, which is basically a Paladin class item, everybody can use it, which basically means that just about anybody could get good use out of this item, not just a Paladin. At level 5, it's just absolutely amazing. We also have 80% enhanced damage on this, which does vary by 10%, so a very small variation there. And then we have 35 attack rating, which is static. And 35 attack rating is more than enough for normal difficulty. It will handle most monsters that you come across. We also have a pretty massive 25% crushing blow for a level 5 item, which you don't really need 25% crushing blow for a level 5 item, but when you come across like a little mini boss like Rakanishu or the Smith or, like Bone Ash or Andariel, that 25% crushing blow is going to come in handy, and you're going to be shredding some monsters. On top of that, it has 15 to mana. Now, 15 to mana might not seem like a lot to a high-level character, but a level 1 Paladin has, like, absolutely no mana. In fact, I feel like we need to go to a level 1 Paladin real quick, just for the lulz of it. Here's my Gemmy Paladin. He's level 1. And I want you to see how much mana my little level 1 Paladin has. He has 14 mana, okay? So 14 whole mana at level 1, which means at level 5 he's probably rocking, like, maybe 20 mana. So the Knell Striker is literally going to practically double your mana pool as a low-level character. 15 mana is absolutely massive for a low-level character and will carry you quite some ways. It will also increase your regeneration rate by a pretty high amount at level 5, which is pretty sick. On top of that, it also has 20% fire resistance and 20% poison resistance, which, believe it or not, are like the best resistances to have in normal difficulty. The majority of the damage that you come across in normal difficulty, Act 1, is fire and poison. And when you get to Act 2, you know what the two main elements are in Act 2? Fire and poison. There is a little bit of lightning in Act 1, and there's a little bit more lightning in Act 2, but for the most part, you've got Andariel, you've got the stupid little shamans that are shooting fireballs at you all the time. In Act 2, you get there, and there's fire archers all over the place that are burning you to death with fire, and having fire and poison resistance on it is absolutely amazing. We also have the 50% damage to Undead, which will come in handy when you hit Act 2, because there's tons of Undead in Act 2. And just a really nice weapon all around that can carry you pretty much through Act 1, Act 2, probably a little bit into Act 3. But by the time you get to Act 3, it might be waning off a little bit, and you might have to upgrade it. And that's what we're going to explore today. We're going to explore what it's like if you upgrade it. You can also find the ethereal version, which is 16 to 28 damage, which is just massive. And it's only 15 strength requirement, which means literally everybody can wear it at level 5. And quite honestly, with 50 durability, it very well could last you through normal difficulty. You could probably just put it on, burn the durability, bonk things on the head with your amazing damage ethereal Knell striker. And by the time you kill Andariel, it'll probably break, and you're going to have to find yourself another weapon. But, you know, it is a very nice item. Let's upgrade it, and let's see what happens when we upgrade this to its exceptional level, which is going to go from the Scepter to... I can't remember what the exceptional version is. I want to say Rune Scepter? Rune Scepter? I think it's Rune Scepter. So it's going to go from 10 to 19 damage, 25 strength requirement, level 5, to the 23 to 43 damage, 58 strength requirement, level 24. And you know what? That's not really a bad upgrade. That's not bad. For level 24, with 25% crushing blow and a decent amount of attack rating, it's pretty good. Granted, the 35 attack rating is waning. It's not as good as it was at level 5. And the 15 mana is no longer as impressive as it once was. But it's still an effective weapon with a decent amount of damage and 25% crushing blow. The ethereal version can be upgraded as well to the exceptional version to from 16 to 28 damage, 15 strength, level 5, to 34 to 64, 48 strength, level 24. Of course, you can't really utilize it because if you do, it will break. The exceptional level version, the non-ethereal version, that's not a bad upgrade, actually. I could see doing that on a paladin or any character who was just utilizing a one-handed weapon, who wanted some crushing blow on a decent hand, you know, a decent weapon that does some decent damage. It's not bad. There's probably better choices, don't get me wrong. But at level 24, you're probably not going to find any of those choices. And a Ral, a Soul, and a Perfect Emerald are pretty easy to come by, and that's really what you got to consider with these tier 1 to tier 2 upgrades is, okay, well, Ral, Soul, Perfect Emerald is pretty cheap, and if I had one of these laying around and I just really needed a weapon that could carry me through normal difficulty, yeah, it's a decent upgrade and it could be worth it. Let's check and see what it's like to upgrade it to the Elite tier, which is going to cost us a Paul, a Lum, and a Perfect Emerald. And it's going to go from 23 to 43 damage, 58 strength, level 24, to 72 to 93 damage, 65 dex, 125 strength, level 58. So not really that good of an upgrade to the upper tier, but that's because it has relatively low enhanced damage. The 80% enhanced damage really holds it back. The ethereal version can also be upgraded, and it's going to go from 34 to 64 damage, 48 strength, level 24, to 108 to 140 damage, 55 dex, 115 strength, level 58. So not really a good upgrade to the elite tier. I wouldn't say that was worth the pull in the Lum. And quite honestly, the Knell Striker really just excels at being a low-level, like, bonking item. If I found one of these, you know what I would use it for? I would just hang on to it. And I would just hand it to every single new player that I leveled up because, quite honestly, no matter what character you put this on, a Necromancer, a Sorceress, an Assassin, a Paladin, a Barbarian, an Amazon, they could just run around bonking things all throughout Act 1 with it, and they would absolutely demolish. And then by the time you got to Act 2 or whatever, maybe you'd get your gear situated, or maybe you'd just still walk around bonking things with this thing until eventually you replace it. And then it'll go in your stash. It'll sit there for a little while until you break out your next character. And they will also run around bonking things because, well, you know, it's a very nice weapon to bonk things with, and that's really all there is to it. Let's take a look over at Silo's pen, and let's see where we could find this weapon so we could get to bonking, because that's the most important thing. We need to bonk. The bonkening. All right, so Silo's pen, drop calc, Knell Striker. It's a low-level item, so, I mean, let's do, like, 50% magic find at best. Let's restrict to normal difficulty. Probability. Look at that probability. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 in 15,543,869. You thought I was joking about them lotto numbers, right? Like lotto probabilities? No. When you try and find this in a difficulty that it doesn't belong in, like the probabilities get absolutely insane. I mean, look at this. 1 in 25,261,351. That's why you never see the dang thing, because it doesn't drop outside of normal difficulty. It's like insanely impossible to find outside of normal. So it looks like, as far as bosses are concerned, Andariel has a pretty good chance at 1 in 3,000. Bloodraven's not bad at 1 in 6,900. And it just kind of gets worse and worse from there. Let's take a look at our super uniques. Cold Crow in Cave Level 1 has a 1 in 1,773. She's actually a good target to farm for Gull Daggers. So if you were going to farm some low-level monsters for, hopefully some good uniques, Cold Crow could be a very interesting choice to try and get your hands on a Knell Striker as well. Does look like the Cow King has a pretty decent chance in normal at 1 in 1,798. And we got a lot of really low-level options here. I mean, Bone Ash, 1 in 15,000. Countess, 1 in 13,000. Griswold, 1 in 12,000. The Smith, Treehead Woodfist, Rockanishu, Pitspawn, Foul Dog. These are all, like, literally normal Act 1 monsters. Like, all the good options are normal Act 1 options. And that's really what it comes down to, is if you really want to find this, even if you're just trying to find it to twink, or maybe you want to find it to complete your Holy Grail, your best bet is just stacking on a whole bunch of magic find and walking around normal difficulty and just murdering everything. A Holy Fire, Holy Freeze, or Holy Shock Paladin works very good for this because they have a massive radius. And you can basically just walk around with lots of magic find and just watch everything die. And then, hold the Alt key or turn on the toggle so that you can just leave it on and just watch for those unique items to fall. Because when it comes to these TC Class 3 items, you really have to go to normal difficulty Act 1 to find them. I don't really think there's much more to say about this item. It's an amazing level 5 item. Could definitely make or break a speed run. Like if I was running like a speed run barbarian or something, or a speed run paladin, and I was just having fun bonking things, and I found a freaking Knell Striker like on some sort of speed run, like this would like speed up the speed run immensely. Not only would it give me free crushing blow, which would be absolutely amazing, it's also amazing damage for normal difficulty in Act 1 and Act 2. And I could also spend a Ral and a Soul Rune and a Perfect Emerald to upgrade it so that it could continue to basically propel me into Nightmare difficulty. Taking out the bosses with it would be immensely satisfying with that 25% crushing blow, so it would probably kill Duriel, Andariel, Mephisto, and Diablo and Baal relatively quickly. Probably by the time I get to Diablo and Baal, though, I may have replaced it, depending on what my luck is, or maybe I've replaced it with a rune word, but who knows. If I'm really lucky, maybe I got myself a pair of Goblin Toes, and I could pair it up with the Goblin Toes for 50% crushing blow. So who knows. Anyway, as always, I sure hope that you appreciate these videos, and as always, get out there and bonk things.